Ranjeet Bhalerao is a chartered engineer and CEO and co-founder of Mortar. He has over 15 years of consultancy experience in the built environment at notable firms such as Arup and Buro Happold. We spoke to Ranjeet about the challenges facing the commercial real estate market at the moment. Please introduce yourself and tell us about your business.
So my name is Ranjeet and I'm the CEO of Mortar. We are a company that is focusing on real estate decarbonization, and we are building a platform that will allow users to decarbonize and digitalize their buildings.
What are the challenges facing the commercial real estate market at the moment?
A great question. First of all, I wanted to say that it's not just commercial real estate, but in general, real estate contributes to nearly 40% of the global carbon emissions. And there are nearly 2.5 billion existing buildings globally. And the fact that we are going to be putting up a new New York City every month for the next 40 years, according to Gates Notes. And what this means is we not only have to build new efficient buildings, but also need to make existing buildings efficient by retrofitting them. And unless we actually do that, we will never be able to meet the targets of, say, the Paris Agreement of limiting global temperatures to 1.5 degrees. And what that means is decarbonizing real estate, existing real estate, is one of the biggest problems to solve, and we have to do it now.
What are the 3 key points for progress in decarbonizing the sector?
The 3 key points that are a challenge to decarbonization is the lack of data, the legislation that is coming in thick and fast, and the manual methods that are currently existing for decarbonization planning. The rate of decarbonization is very slow, and we need to decarbonize not only to comply with the upcoming regulations, but like I said earlier, in order to meet those climate targets, in order to meet those global commitments that we've made, in order to save people's livelihoods and all these kind of things. So the key challenges we face in doing these are the data is seriously lacking, or it's disorganized, or in many cases it's entirely missing. And what that means is unless you measure something and you know what it is doing, you can't just change it or improve it. So the problem of having the data, collecting it in the right format, and then utilizing it to make meaningful decisions and hence outcomes is still something that is seriously lacking, and we need to change that quite quickly. So what we are trying to solve is this exact problem of not only improving the accuracy and reducing the uncertainty of things, but also accelerating the whole pace of understanding what to do with the building portfolio. And that's where we come in with automated digital audits.
How can we effectively tackle these issues?
Yeah, so like I said, legislation is something that we cannot tackle. It's going to come in depending on the various climate targets and global commitments that we've made. And I think it's for the good. Like, we should definitely have more stronger and forceful legislation to actually accelerate this journey. The problems with data and the manual methods are something that we can definitely work on as a community and together as an industry. So the most important thing, as we started saying, was about the data, is that there has to be a way to gather that data which is useful for pretty much the entire industry and is available at the click of a button quite quickly to be able to use it to make meaningful decisions or carry out meaningful actions from that. So that is one of the key things that we should be doing, is creating a data infrastructure for real estate, because it is one of the least digitalized industries in the world, and we definitely need to rapidly improve that if we have to meet all of these decarbonization targets. Secondly, about the manual methods. So if you look at the process of decarbonization, currently the methods of understanding what to do to decarbonize a portfolio are incredibly manual and cause a lot of uncertainty in terms of the technical and financial risks that it poses. So we need to find ways to actually deal with these 2 key aspects of data and manual methods to be able to accelerate this whole process of decarbonization. Having said that, these are not the only problems that we need to tackle, but at Mortar, these are the key problems that we are focusing on.
How do we create unified change across the built environment?
If you look at the global building stock, 90% of the buildings that we see around us are buildings which have these initial problems of data. And what that means is unless we address the problem with those buildings, we cannot actually even begin to plan our decarbonization or actually start going towards that goal of decarbonization. The 10% of the buildings are already buildings which are glamorous and represent, like I said, a very small minority of those buildings, and those landlords possibly tend to have money and time and resources to actually make improvements to those buildings and keep them up to date and all these kind of things. But the 90% don't necessarily have that luxury. So what we need to do in order to unify the industry is to create that digital infrastructure so that people can make the industry digital and then start to implement all of these solutions in order to achieve all of these targets. Because if we still continue with the manual methods that we use right now, in majority of the places, we will basically never be able to meet those targets. And one of the key things in terms of decarbonization, at least, is that we need to double the rate of decarbonization that we are at right now to be able to meet those Paris targets. So that kind of means that the unification and the provision of almost like a foundation for the industry to build on and accelerate the whole process is incredibly important, and that's what we are trying to build.